In this audiobook, you'll explore a powerful truth that can reshape the way you move through life. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You'll learn how to stop fighting your emotions and start understanding them, so you can experience difficulty without losing yourself in the process. As you listen, you'll discover how acceptance becomes the first doorway out of struggle, how mindfulness helps you meet pain without being consumed by it, and how resilience quietly grows in you even when you feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. You'll learn how to shift your perspective so painful moments lose their ability to define you, and you'll be guided into a gentler way of speaking to yourself, a way that supports healing rather than prolonging the hurt. By the end, you'll see that suffering isn't a life sentence. It's a pattern, one you can unlearn with compassion, awareness, and honesty. This audio will give you the tools to navigate hard moments with grace, clarity, and strength, and help you remember that even in pain, you still have choice, you still have agency, and you still have a path forward. Chapter 1, the universal reality of pain. Pain is a part of being human, not because you're weak, not because you're unlucky, but because you're alive. Every person you've ever met, no matter how confident, successful, or composed they seem, carries a private archive of moments that hurt. And if you're listening to this right now, you might be holding one too, maybe quietly, maybe heavily. Maybe it's fresh. Maybe it's an old bruise that you thought should have healed by now. Pain shows up in many forms. The loss you didn't see coming, the betrayal you didn't deserve, the disappointment that snuck up on you, the loneliness you didn't choose, the memories you wish you could rewrite. And in those moments, it's natural to tense up, to fight it, to ask, why me? Because pain demands attention. It interrupts, it rearranges, it forces you to pause. But here's the part we often overlook. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Suffering is what happens when we become fused with the pain, when we resist it, replay it, attach meaning to it, or try to outrun it. Suffering isn't the event, it's the story we keep telling ourselves afterward. This journey we're about to take together isn't about denying pain, pretending everything is fine, or forcing positivity. It's about learning how to meet pain differently, how to hold it without letting it swallow you, how to feel deeply but not drown. This is the beginning, a gentle opening, a reminder that what you're feeling isn't a personal flaw, it's part of being human. Chapter 2, acceptance, the first step out of suffering. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It doesn't mean you're okay with the pain or that you're pretending it didn't leave a mark. Acceptance simply means you've stopped fighting a battle you can't win. When something painful happens, the mind tries to protect you. It tightens, it protests, it searches for explanations, rewrites, bargains, and alternate timelines. You might catch yourself thinking, if I had just done this instead, if they had treated me differently, if life had gone the way I planned. But all those thoughts, as human and valid as they are, tether you to a moment that already passed. Acceptance isn't giving up, it's giving yourself permission to move forward. Imagine holding a rope while someone on the other end is pulling with all their strength. Your hands burn, your arms shake, your body leans back, locked in the struggle. Letting go doesn't mean the rope disappears. It just means you stop letting it drag you. Life brings moments we would never choose, but resisting them, replaying them, questioning why they unfolded the way they did, that's the birthplace of suffering. Acceptance creates space, space to breathe, space to feel without collapsing, space to begin. Some pains soften slowly, some take time. Acceptance isn't a switch, it's a practice, a daily whisper. This happened, and I'm still here. You don't have to force yourself to be strong. You just have to stop fighting yourself. Chapter 3, mindfulness, meeting pain without becoming it. Pain becomes suffering when we fuse with it. When the emotion arises and we mistake it for identity, I am anxious, I am broken, I am unlovable, I am not enough. But mindfulness teaches a quieter truth. You are not the storm, you are the sky it passes through. Mindfulness isn't about controlling your emotions. It's about noticing them without letting them take the wheel. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed. Maybe your chest tightened, your breath shortened, your thoughts raced in circles, replaying moments, inventing outcomes, assuming the worst. In those moments, your mind wasn't hurting you on purpose. It was trying to protect you. It just didn't know how. Mindfulness offers a different way to respond. It says, pause, return to this moment, Feel what's here, not the stories, not the spirals, just the sensation beneath it all. Maybe that sensation is heaviness, or pressure, or heat in the chest, or a deep, quiet ache that sits behind the ribs. Mindfulness asks you to observe it like you'd observe weather. This is discomfort, this is fear, this is grief, this is anger. Not as identity, but as passing experience. And something powerful happens when you do this. Pain loses its grip. It stops expanding into suffering because you've interrupted the automatic chain reaction, the rumination, the dread, the self-blame. Mindfulness doesn't remove pain, but it removes the extra layers we pile on top of the pain, the catastrophizing, the assumptions, the judgments about how we should feel. Pain is inevitable, but the story you attach to it, that's optional. When you meet your pain with presence, with awareness, it becomes lighter, more manageable, less frightening. Mindfulness doesn't make you superhuman. It just returns you to the truth. You can handle what's in front of you, moment by moment. Chapter 4. Resilience, the quiet strength you forgot you had. Resilience is often misunderstood. People think it looks like confidence or unshakable positivity or some heroic ability to rise above everything without flinching. But resilience, real resilience, is much smaller than that. Quieter, more human. Resilience is the part of you that gets back up even when you don't want to. The part that whispers, try again, after life knocks the breath out of you. The part that refuses to let a painful chapter become the whole story. You've been resilient long before you knew the word for it. Every moment you survived what you thought you wouldn't. Every morning you woke up despite the heaviness in your chest. Every time you carried yourself through changes you never asked for. That was resilience. It isn't something you build from scratch. It's something you remember. Pain tests you, yes, but it also reveals you. It shows you the strength you didn't think you had, the adaptability you never credited yourself for, the courage that lives beneath all your fear. Resilience isn't about pretending you're okay. It's about trusting that you will be eventually. It's knowing that pain might knock you down, but it won't keep you down unless you decide you can't rise. And I want you to realize something. You don't have to rise dramatically. You don't have to rise beautifully. You don't even have to rise with confidence. You just have to rise. Sometimes resilience looks like a deep breath. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed. Sometimes it looks like making one small decision that moves you 1 inch forward. Pain will happen. That's part of living. But resilience is what stops pain from becoming the end of your story. Chapter 5. Perspective. Changing the lens, not the past. Pain narrows your vision. It convinces you that the moment you're in is the whole picture, the whole future, the whole story, the whole truth. It zooms in on the wound so closely that nothing else exists. Perspective doesn't erase what happened, but it widens the frame. And when you widen the frame, something shifts. You begin to see that painful experiences are not just events, they're turning points, openings, teachers, invitations. Not because suffering is noble or because everything happens for a reason, but because perspective lets you hold both truths at once. It hurt, and I grew. I didn't want this, and I survived it. I lost something, and I found something else. Perspective is what keeps pain from becoming identity. It helps you understand that this moment, however intense, is temporary. A chapter, not the whole book. When you shift your perspective, you start asking different questions. Instead of why me, you ask, what is this trying to show me about myself? What strength is emerging that I didn't know I had? What needs to change so I can move forward with more clarity? You're not responsible for the pain that found you, but you are responsible for the perspective you choose as you heal from it. And here's the empowering part. Perspective is always within reach, even in the middle of chaos, even when your heart is heavy, even when you feel lost. Sometimes perspective comes from time, sometimes from honesty, sometimes from stepping back and remembering, I've been through hard things before, and I'm still here. Pain might close the door. Perspective shows you the hallway. And once you see that hallway, once you recognize that there's more to the story than the moment that hurt you, suffering loosens its hold. Chapter 6. Self-compassion. The gentle ending you've always deserved. If pain is inevitable and suffering is optional, self-compassion is the bridge between the two. Because no matter how mindful you try to be, no matter how much resilience you uncover, no matter how wisely you shift your perspective, none of it sticks if you're cruel to yourself in the process. Most people don't realize this, but suffering often comes less from the pain itself and more from the voice inside saying, you should be over this by now. You're weak for feeling this way. You're the reason things fell apart. You should have known better. We turn pain into punishment. We turn mistakes into identity. We turn setbacks into proof that we're undeserving. But self-compassion interrupts that cycle. It speaks to you the way you wish someone had spoken to you in the moment. Everything fell apart. I know this hurts, and I'm not going anywhere. You're allowed to feel this. You're trying your best, even if your best looks different today. Let's take this one step at a time. Self-compassion isn't soft or passive. It's strength in its most humane form. It's direction without force. It's healing without pressure. It's growth without self-punishment. Because you can't hate yourself into a better life. You can only support yourself into one. And here's the truth most people never realize until they're exhausted. Pain demands to be felt, but suffering demands to be fed. When you speak gently to yourself, when you offer patience instead of judgment, when you treat yourself like someone worth helping, you stop feeding the suffering. You loosen its grip. You soften its edges. You reclaim your power. Self-compassion doesn't erase pain, but it makes pain survivable, navigable, temporary. And as you practice it, slowly, quietly, consistently, you begin to notice something. You're not breaking. You're unfolding. You're not lost. You're becoming. Pain arrived as an unwelcome visitor. But how you treat yourself while it's here determines how you rise once it leaves. And you will rise, not because you're fearless, but because you're finally on your own side.